in this week's episode, I'm going to be using this very, very powerful tool with you to help you connect, not just with conscious mind, with your subconscious mind over the coming weeks, so that you can start to see the path forwards towards your goals and dreams. It is a really simple tool, nothing complicated, nothing you won't have heard of before. Sometimes we think it's got to be some spectacular new technique that's going to help us, when in fact, it's the basics that really make a difference. And it's the tools that all coaches, healers, teachers, and guides work with. I love to call this tool quantum questions. I'm going to unpack that for you in a moment. This week's episode, we're focusing on what does it look like to build a business that gives you time, financial, and location freedom, whilst also building something that means something to you. It has purpose, it has meaning, it's connected to soul's mission. So it's way beyond just making money, it's something that lights you up. And at the same time, it's something that gives you the level of financial and time freedom that you can truly be of service to others. You don't have to be worried about time, you don't have to be worried about money, and then you can show up totally in your power, really being of service to the world. So welcome to this week's episode of your Power Packed Podlets. My name is Rachel, and I'm your host for these mini magical journeys together. So let's get into quantum questions first, and then I'm going to take you on a journey, and I'm going to pose you quantum questions throughout this episode. And what's going to happen is your subconscious mind is going to continually, over the coming days and weeks, look for answers to these questions. Because quantum questions is not a new thing. It's just a term I like to give them so that you understand how important the quality of the questions are that you pose yourself. Because when you ask yourself a question or somebody else asks you a question, your subconscious mind will consistently look for the answer to it until it finds it. And so if you repeatedly ask yourself quantum questions, your subconscious mind will repeatedly look for the evidence and proof and the answers to those questions externally to you. And what this does is it actually opens up your vision to things that you've potentially not been aware of before. Opportunities, people, conversations, because of the questions you ask yourself. So let's start with a really big one. What does it look like for your life to get even better than it already is? We're going to unpack the power of this question because it's not just about the question, it's understanding the power within it that helps to make a difference. Why is this one so powerful? For a moment, contemplate on how good your life already is. Because our natural biological survival instincts lead us to look for the things that aren't going well, to the things that still haven't been completed. It requires you to train your mind and train your nervous system to consistently look for the good. Otherwise, it will automatically look for the bad, and that is only normal. And you repeat until this is integrated into your system and you no longer question looking for the good in your life. So let me repeat that one for you. What does it look like for your life to get even better than it already is? What is already good in your life? And what does the next level look like? But not only this, there are hidden things with this question. I'll say that again because I stumbled on my words. There are hidden things within this question. Because within this question is radical self-responsibility and self-leadership. Because for you to acknowledge the good and for you to choose to find even more good and move towards it requires you take responsibility for creating it. This is the power of quantum questions, and I'm going to be sprinkling them throughout today's session. So today's topic is about environments and the importance of the environments you spend time in. And the reason I've been inspired to share this with you is these last few weeks in my business and in my personal life have really highlighted the power of non-circumstantial long-term support as a woman leader, not just a business owner, a woman leader. Because up until about 5 years ago, I'd never considered long-term, high-level support. I'd gone to high-level intensives where I would spend a week, 4 weeks, 5 weeks, 6 weeks in an intensive environment where everybody around me was as committed and self-led as I was. And so imagine the amount of breakthroughs and aha moments and profound experiences in those times. Incredible. But then I would come back from those certifications or courses and I would spend a period of a year, 2 years, 3 years, where I would have mild touch points in between, where I would maybe go to a class or a workshop where the people in the space, maybe some would be at the level of self-leadership as me, the majority wouldn't be. And this isn't to brag or boast, I mean led in the way that I choose leadership. Grounded, authoritative, kind, humble. Leadership on the level of spirituality. Leadership when it comes to emotions and taking responsibility for my own emotions. Taking responsibility for consistently doing the inner work. That's what I mean by leadership. And for each individual, it's different. And it wasn't until I chose to be non-circumstantially investing in an environment where every single moment I wanted community, conversations, brainstorming, support and guidance, the space is there. Now I go through long periods of time where I don't lean into a space. I've paid for it and it's there when I want it. And something radical has happened in my nervous system by allowing myself to have this sort of support. Now, some of you listening, you are yourself women leaders, and so you already are in these sorts of environments, because this is what women leaders do. We understand that building in isolation can be a lot for us to hold. When you're managing responsibility, you're holding space for others, you're leading yourself as you're navigating challenging conversations with family, friends, but even clients. When you make an investment and things go wrong, when you are doing it in isolation, you're holding all of that by yourself. And then you wonder why it feels exhausting, overwhelming, or you feel anxiety. There is something when we have the support, including when we don't lean in, something shifts in the body. So these last few weeks in my business, a combination of things have been happening. Some of them challenging, some of them where I'm sitting down with my team and we're discussing what it looks like to upgrade systems in the business. And when having these types of conversations, being able to turn not to one coach, but 2 coaches, not to one team member, but 2 team members, to be able to discuss with different people with different points of view, different expertise, and different ways of seeing the world. It gives such a level of depth to what I'm able to create. To be able to brainstorm with other human beings who think on my level or beyond it, people who are further along on the path than I am, and are able to open up my eyes to experiences they've already had, or things that they've studied that I haven't. And so not only is it the magic of brainstorming in a team, but it is also being able to add a different depth and flavor to what's already being created, and to move so much faster and have so much more fun than if I were doing it all alone. So let me pose a question to you. If you are trying to build another level of your life in isolation, what difference would it make to your life to be held non-circumstantially as you navigate all of the ups, the downs, the growth, the failure, the getting back up again? And what would it look like to allow yourself to be held, supported, and guided through all of that? What difference would it make? What are the areas in your life that you're trying to hold everything alone because you've held on to the belief systems that this is just how it's done? And what would it be like to look at it differently? I'm going to share another story with you, because a few weeks back, I was in a process of doing a live launch, and we were sharing a few different offers with women who are coming through. And I'm in this space with other women who are doing a myriad of different businesses. Some are business owners, some are not, some are CEOs, some are managers. And one of the other women was going through a similar launch. And we were kind of parallel as we did it. And I saw her share in the group some of the sales that she was closing. And she just closed 2 5-figure sales, or multi 5-figure sales. And she was on the brink of closing another one, and they'd paid in full. And so, excited to see somebody doing this, I then go into her webpage. I had a look at what she was doing. I had a look at the offers she was putting on the table. And my heart was expanded seeing that this was a woman who is an energy healer who had just closed 2, nearly 3 5-figure deals. Now, the reason I wish to share this with you, I've got another quantum question for you. How often do you spend time in environments that normalize this level of success? How much time do you spend in environments where the people around you are creating results that either normalize what you're already creating or are stretching you to see where you're playing small? Because the level of environments you spend your time in is what normalizes what is possible. And unless you're in an environment where there is consistent proof and evidence of results that are way beyond your wildest dreams, you will always play at the level that currently feels safe and normal. Environment is everything. I'm going to come to my notes because I've got one last one to share with you. When you have a bigger vision, when you are moving towards greater levels, the standards of the environment you spend time in are everything. One of the things as we grow as women leaders is there will be moments when you have emotional wobbles. And this can look like a myriad of different things. Because the more you grow in success, the more your challenges grow as well. And by growing, I don't mean getting bigger, I mean they evolve. They require greater levels of self-leadership. They require you being able to alchemize things that right now in your system might not feel safe to. When it comes to the level of investments that you're making, the level of risks that you're taking, the type of interactions that you have with clients. Because the more your business grows, the differently people see you and the differently people interact with your business as well. And so the more that you grow in success and leadership, the quicker you want to be getting through those moments of wobbles. You start to realize that the longer you spend in the emotion, in the process, the less time you spend in your power. And this has a huge ripple effect on everything. It then ripples out into your personal life. It then ripples out into business feeling overwhelming. And the more you walk this path, the more you realize that you're just not willing to tolerate it. So it doesn't matter if you're at the start of your path. If you've already built a business and you're building a new one, or you're currently running a business and you're wanting to take it to another level, there will always be moments that stretch us. I mean, that's why we're here, right? This is why as souls we chose to manifest in physical form. It wasn't so that it were all to be easy and therefore there'd be no growth. There'd be no reason to want to grow and to go within ourselves. A huge reason that we come here is to break karmic bonds, is to be able to bring the unconscious to conscious awareness, and then to come back to the point of origin and see it as if for the first time. And one of the big things that allows us to do this is not to face challenges and obstacles from contraction and fear. It's to face them through the lens of soul. What is this teaching me? Why is this happening for me? How is this helping me to grow? And why is this one of the corner pieces that's leading me to the next level? So let me finish today's episode by repeating those questions to you so that you can contemplate upon them. Because the challenges that arise in your journey are not there to break you. On your path between where you are and where you want to be, let's say you want to double your income, halve your hours, and do something that lights you up even more than what you're currently doing. Let's say that's your goal. Between where you are and that goal being your reality, the parts of you that do not believe it's possible, the parts of you that shirk away from responsibility, that have an emotional roller coaster when shit hits the fan, those parts of you cannot go with you to that new reality. The parts of you that hold on to lack, fear, scarcity, to lack of worthiness, to lack of trust in yourself or the world around you, they can't go with you to that next level. And so life on the journey, on the path towards the goal, will give you the opportunities to step up, to bring those unconscious patterns to conscious awareness so they can be cleared and you can step into another level of trust, another level of confidence, and another level of grounded leadership. And when you can move towards it with an open heart, say, thank you for the obstacle, thank you for the lessons, what is it you're here to show me? Versus going into what's something we naturally do. We contract, we go into fear, we start to try and control, we go into the patterns of like overworking, running away, freezing, whatever your fight or flight response is. What does it look like to not go into fight or flight and to actually lead yourself differently? So here are the questions for this part. With every obstacle you face, what are the lessons they're here to bring? How is it happening for you? And how have you created it for your own good? For your good, for your growth, for your evolution as a soul having a human experience. So, the lessons for today. Questions are everything. The quality of the questions you ask yourself create the meaning in your life, create what you're capable of seeing. The environments you spend time in, they're the ones that normalize what you believe to be possible. And so what are the environments you're choosing to spend time in from now on? For those of you who would like to spend time in an environment with spiritually led women leaders, women who are also deeply connected to the journey of knowing thyself, of understanding business and life through the lens of soul. If you imagine the caliber of those conversations and the frequency in the room, that's something that excites you. We're opening up the doors to trial out the School of Holistic Success for 30 days in July. You get to join us from the 13th of July. You get to come in for 4 live sessions, 2 teaching, 2 coaching. You get to be in our VIP space. You get to spend 30 days being guided and supported. And you get to see from the inside what a space like this looks and feels like. Now, this is only for you if you're interested in trialing out a high-end space that you know is there for the long term. You get to see what it can be like to be in a space like that for the long run, and you understand that it is a high-ticket investment if you choose to continue. This is a space that women leaders, people who are self-led, who are responsible, and who understand that the inner work and inner mastery is a huge part of success, not just in business, but in life as well. So if that sounds like a match for you, I will drop the link to sign up in the description to this week's episode. If you have any questions, send me a direct message and I'm happy to answer those. In the meantime, enjoy the rest of your week and I will connect with you next week in the next episode of your Power Packed Podlets.